Live from Tennessee, it's the Grindhouse Podcast. Welcome back to the show. I am your host, as always, Cheese Film. Joined with me is the very eclectic.
Eclectic.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that.
Good word. It's the word of
Hecubus.
the day. Watch my Sesame Street. And today is a special episode because we individually went out and we watched a Dracula movie on our own. We didn't tell each other which Dracula movie we watched.
Right.
And today we will be discussing each individual Dracula movie.
Well, tell them the snafu.
The snafu.
We didn't want to watch the same Dracula movie,
Yeah.
so we had to, and didn't want to tell each other which one we did see.
Yep.
So he ended up watching 2, and then he said that, so I ended up watching 2, well, 1.5, to make sure and some base of that premise was covered. We're not doing the same one, and we're doing one.
I chose to do 2 because the one I saw that I definitely wanted to do, I was like, well, if I'm doing this, there's a good chance he'll see this and he'll want to do this too, because it's meant for the podcast. It's perfect. Everything about it was like screaming, you should cover this, because it was Wes Craven Presents Dracula 2000. And ironically, and I'll get in when we talk about this, I'll get into this. The same reason I picked that movie up was the same reason this movie even kind of exists. And it's got a fun little story to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool. I don't know what you're talking about.
Fun,
Awesome.
because I looked into a lot of the trivia for this movie, and there's not a whole lot of actual good trivia in it, but there are some like good.
The ones it has are good.
Yeah. I mean, because there's a line in it where they offer Dracula a cup of coffee, and he says, "I don't drink coffee."
Right, yeah.
Which is a reference back to the Universal one, where
Yep.
he says, "I never drink wine." So, that was fun. And if you were watching the movie, you definitely heard it. So in the trivia section of IMDb, they put that there too. That's what I'm saying. There wasn't a lot of trivia.
Right.
All the trivia was just like stuff very clearly in the movie.
Yeah, okay.
So I picked that one and I watched that one. And then I was like, well, he's probably going to watch this one, so I'll pick another one. And I went to the Hammer Horror Dracula films because I think Christopher Lee is the best Dracula really ever. I think he nailed it. He did it great. And I did Dracula AD 1972.
Yeah.
And that was a blast too. And I'm excited to talk about these films.
That's funny because I only liked one of mine.
Really?
Yeah. Love at First Bite, the disco Dracula movie starring George Hamilton, it's pretty much a comedy, and with Dracula in it.
Yeah. And
instead of being really sinister or anything, he's way more just annoyed with 1979 New York. And it was pretty good. But George Hamilton is well known for being the tannest guy ever. Mm-hmm. Like, he used to cut school to go to the beach and tan.
Wow.
Yeah, for real. And I think he didn't graduate high school because he did that. And he pretty much got famous by being just the tan guy. And this movie really brought his career back. But it's good. It's kind of stupid funny, old school funny, but it's
funny.
The stuff is funny. Like at the beginning, he's playing the piano. It's just him in his castle, and he says there's wolves howling all over, and it's really loud. And he says, "Children of the night, shut up," because he can't. It's the same kind of thing. They do a twist on those lines.
Yeah, which are iconic.
Yeah, they are.
They
have to kind of be in any kind of Dracula, not vampire thing, but Dracula.
Dracula specifically, yeah.
And then the other one I watched was called Count Dracula from 1970, starring Christopher Lee, the only Dracula I've ever seen with a mustache. He's got a big 70s mustache, Fu Manchu, and it was just boring as shit.
Really?
Yeah, it was terrible. Ooh. And this might be the worst Dracula.
Really?
Yeah, and it's Christopher Lee, but it's like he's bored throughout the whole thing.
It's kind of strange because all the other ones I've seen, I don't know the actual continuity of any of these
Yeah, me neither.
because they all are kind of the same. Like when I watched the Horrors of Dracula, I think it's called, which is the first one.
Yeah,
And
right.
then I watched this one. It's the same exact movie.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
You know, like it is the exact same movie.
Is Peter Cushing in the 72
Peter
one?
Cushing is in this one too, as Van Helsing.
Yeah.
Which I think is a really good choice for Van Helsing because I like the Universal one.
Yeah.
And he's very I don't want to call him stiff, but he is a intellectual. He's a man of a book. He's a professor. And I think Peter Cushing also does that really, really well.
Yeah, he pulls that off great.
Yeah, he's
Sherlock Holmes too.
Oh my God! Oh, I watched The Hound of the Baskervilles recently. Oh my God,
That's a good one.
It's really good. And he does a great job. And
does.
they focus on him as our main guy. Dracula is barely in these movies.
That's cool. Like Jaws.
Yeah, almost probably about the same amount of screen time as Jaws.
Nice. Or Beetlejuice.
Or Beetlejuice. But it's cool because you follow Van Helsing trying to find and stop Dracula in both of these movies. And because Peter Cushing is Peter Cushing, you're not bored with it. You know, like, oh, I can't wait to get to the Dracula parts. This is the boring bit. He's doing a great job. He's doing a fantastic performance and all that kind of stuff. And the script is usually really good. So when it gets to Dracula, Christopher Lee hams it up, I think, in the best ways. He's also not regal. He's not a regal Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
He's wearing the cape and like a black suit, but like he in no way is like, I wouldn't call him a count.
Right.
He fist fights, Peter Cushing. Like this movie, AD starts with those two fist fighting on the top of a runaway carriage.
That's awesome.
That's not Dracula. That's not like
Bela Lugosi wouldn't do that
ever. No, that he's not like got his cape out and the moon's behind him and he's like hissing into the sky. He's fist fighting.
Yeah.
It's metal. It's
hamming it up. Yeah. That's great.
And then he's brutal. He's graphic. He eats the people. They don't come back as vampires. They're dead. That's it. Like he's not taking wives or any of that stuff. He's just killing people.
That is cool.
And I think I think that makes him a little bit more intimidating and menacing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, way more menacing.
Yeah, because he's not
it ups
just
the ante.
He's not somebody you can reason with. He just wants to kill you. He's just evil.
And bloodthirsty.
Oh, yeah. And the blood in these movies are like a neon red. Like
they always
over
are.
the top.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it so much.
Yeah. George Hamilton, on the other hand, is very regal in Love at First Bite. And he really pulls it off good, too. He would be, he's snooty and like a snob.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't help but like him. He's charming and stuff. And he, all right, it's a comedy. So, like, he turns into a bat. And at one point, he's going around looking for something to eat. And he goes into a window, and there's this, like, couple in there. And they basically chase him out. Then he goes into another window, and these people are hungry. And they're like, we need something to eat. And then he flies in there, and they're like, oh, let's get him. It's a chicken. To get the black chicken. So then he ends up getting a bum or who's drunk on the street.
Uh-huh.
So when he wakes up the next night, he's all hungover and stuff like that. But he's always very uptight and uppity and just charming as hell.
Yeah.
And in this one, I don't know where they got this from. But if he bites you 3 times, then you turn into a vampire.
Why would he have to bite you 3 times?
Probably so the movie will be longer. Because he gets evicted from his castle. The Soviet Union evicts him from his castle, and they're going to make it into a gymnastic training camp. So he's in love with he thinks this model for magazines is the reincarnation of his one true love. So he goes to New York, to meet her, and she's played by Susan St. James. And the Renfield character, he acts like that all the time. It's a good time, this movie is. But he's going there to hook up with her. And her psychiatrist / ex-boyfriend, anyway, it's very 1970s. So if you want a snapshot of the 70s, this is a good one to watch because she's promiscuous, but it's not in any kind of bad way. It's like a women's lib kind of way.
Yeah.
And I forgot where I was, but he was trying to get her to marry him. Oh, that's where I was going. Richard Benjamin plays her boyfriend / psychiatrist. And, what's his name? Rosenthal or Rosenberg or something like that.
Yeah.
That's his name. But he changed his name from Van Helsing to Rosenberg for professional reasons. So his grandfather was Van Helsing, who thought he destroyed Dracula, and he comes back, and then he's got to try to save her and kill Dracula. This is the only Dracula movie I can think of where Dracula is the hero of the story, and he really is. The Van Helsing guy is kind of a kook, and like he goes to the police station and helps a guy. There's a guy who's he's arrested for trying to steal something. He's like, I didn't do it. He's like, let me help. And he like talks to me, you're not going to do it again, are you? And he's like, no. So they let him go. He's like, go to this clinic and my friend will help you out. And then he's like, to the detective, oh, by the way, there's a Dracula's here and he's trying to kill everybody and blah, blah, blah. And the cop gets all pissed off. He's like, go get that kid back. So that's the whole kind of thing. And there's one disco dance part in it. But it's all very, very 1970s. It's not scary at all. But Dracula looks cool. He's walking around in his, you think about Bela Lugosi's outfit in color all the time. He's always in that. And it's kind of ridiculous and cool at the same time.
Mm-hmm. That's something I kind of like about the Christopher Lee stuff is that they don't do it like that. And I think he was the first one to do the red inside of the cape because Bela Lugosi didn't have that.
Well, it was black and white,
black
too.
And white, you wouldn't be able to tell. He's just kind of he looks more like a count in my opinion.
Yeah, right.
But he's more aggressive. But it's funny that you said that about it's Van Helsing's
grandson,
relative,
yeah.
Because in this one, it's also like Peter Cushing plays Van Helsing in 1872,
and
he dies. Dracula and him die at the same time. And his grandson, now played by Peter Cushing, again,
right, 100
Van
years
Helsing,
later.
100 years later, is gonna do it, and he
that's awesome.
He's got like posters and paintings in his office of Dracula. Really cool because they're like melted skin and all that fun stuff. And I find that to be interesting that both of these did that. Well, Dracula 2000 kind of did that too, but it was a different way.
Yeah, so did, Count Dracula is straightforward. It's Van Helsing's going after him and stuff.
I wonder why that was the way they went. Why did they go... Because they didn't go... well, this is just a modern-day Dracula. Now, this is where it is. This is where our story starts. It happened back then.
Right.
He's been dead for 100 years, and he's come back.
Did they come back by accidentally taking the stake out of his heart? Is that one?
So in AD, I forgot his first name, but his last name is Alucard.
Doctor.
He performs a satanic ritual and sacrifices one of his friends to bring Dracula back. And like all the smoke starts billowing out of his grave and stuff like that. Is really cool. And they pulled because he did that's how he died. He
got a stake
crashed into the wheel of the carriage, and it's like sticking through him, and he's still alive. But when Helsing rips the wheel off, it's a stake in his heart, and that kills him. And he turns to ash. A mysterious figure scoops up the ash into a vial, and then Alucard has that vial, mixes it with his own blood, summons Dracula, takes the stake out of his body, and in this billowy smoke is Dracula. Peter
Mm.
Cushing, Christopher Lee is there, and he's like, "I brought you back," and he just looks at him. He's like, "I came back of my own will." He's immediately not like, "I'm not doing any favors for you."
Right. I'm the prince.
Yeah. There's a point where Alucard brings another one of his friends back as like a sacrifice, and it's not the person Dracula wants it to be, because Helsing's granddaughter is who he's after,
Oh, sure.
and it's not her. And Alucard's like, "Well, you promised me," and he's like, "I promised you nothing. Like you are not doing. I'm not doing a single favor for you." Kind of thing, and he kind of becomes the Renfield. They give him
That's what I was just gonna
Dracula
say.
powers and stuff like that, and they end up getting the daughter, and she gets mind controlled. But again, he just is trying to eat her. He's not trying. There's no other alternative motive. He's trying to eat her. And they fight, and this. So the cool part about this is that in the Dracula original story, he's trying to go to London. To go from his castle to London. This whole movie is just in London.
That's
so
cool.
You get London in the 70s, and this movie, like you said with yours, is thick coated 70s.
Yeah, that's
the
cool.
Soundtrack is all that Austin Powers funky, yeah, exactly like that the entire time. Which it's funny now. Seeing this movie where you have Dracula being impaled again and he's gushing blood and you just a funky bass line. There's no suspense in the music at all. There's nothing. It's just like and like all that kind of stuff. And
that's cool.
It's impressive. And like it's shot just in London. Like they don't it's not a set. It's really cool the way they
this
did
one was
that.
shot in New York City.
And I like that because like when they're panning throughout there's a intersection and like you get to see all of downtown London and the buses and all that fun, the Beatles and stuff like that is really cool. And this movie's got good atmosphere to it throughout the entire thing. I think the only thing I would change is the audio. I think a lot of these old low budget horror movies, the audio is where they suffer the most.
They do.
And like we do 4K restorations of picture quality. I hope someday we can do that with audio quality.
Well, I'm sure they can. I don't know why they don't.
Well, because Star Wars sounds great now.
Sure.
So like do that.
And you can tell the difference too if you watch those DVDs that are the old one and the new one.
Yeah.
But you reminded me of two things. One, they Love at First Bite had a disco song in it called "I Love the Nightlife." And they had to take it out.
Really?
Just like in Spaceballs, they took Van Halen out, for copyright reasons.
Wow.
So, and this was way back. It was in the theater, that song was in it, but once it hit TV and beyond, they had to take it out.
Randy, you should do me a favor and look up Dracula AD 1972 band, because there's a band in this. They're featured in the credits. It's a whole, they're at a party and the band's playing.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the band, but like it was a big push in this movie to have that band. I also find it funny talking about the credits that like Peter Cushing is top billed in the, like it said Dracula AD starring Peter Cushing. And Christopher Lee's name wasn't in the opening credits at all.
Well, that's cool.
And I was like, well, you missed one guy.
Yeah, but they might have did that for suspense.
The band's name is Trust. Bow Brumbles.
Yeah.
Bow spelled B-E-A-U.
Yeah.
Brumbles. And they were, I think they did a lot of the music in this.
They probably did.
When they're playing and dancing for that party, it's like that. But this one follows a group of kids, and they're all ruffian kids. They invade a high-class party and get kicked out essentially because they call the cops on them. Like they're those kind of they're grown adults acting as teenagers. And it's kind of fun.
You did say AD 1972, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Either that band or Stone Ground. I think all four movies are coming up when I look up band for Dracula AD.
Are there 4 movies called Dracula AD?
No, but it's coming up with like 2,000 band.
But you were mentioning
Sal
What?
Valentino did a lot of the music for this.
you were mentioning
He's
the
a-
atmosphere of 1972,
Yes.
and in that Count Dracula movie, that was the main thing that was missing. There was absolutely
Really?
no atmosphere. Everything was brightly lit, like when Harker is going to Dracula's castle and Dracula's the carriage driver. It's not even pretending to be shot day for night. It's just in the daytime, and he's all covered up. And wolves come and he scares them off, but it's just weak. Everything about it is, like I said, brightly lit. Harker does stupid things for no reason, and like it kind of seems like Christopher Lee phoned it in a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
but like also Herbert Lom plays Renfield or Van Helsing in it, and he was Chief Inspector Dreyfus in the Pink Panther movies. That's why I said his name. This guy, and Klaus Kinski plays a Renfield, but he's not with Dracula. He's in a cell.
Oh, okay.
You know, that's probably how it is in the book.
Well,
I
they
would
lock
imagine.
Renfield up in the Universal movie.
What's that?
They lock him up in the Universal movie.
He's already locked up in this one, and also in Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula. He's already locked up.
And I purposely didn't do that one because I thought, well, that might be another one that you do.
Yeah, I didn't do it for that same reason.
Yeah.
That one and the Christopher Lee first one.
The first one.
Yeah, which is I wanted to because I've never seen that one.
You've never seen that one?
No, I've seen other Dracula movies with Christopher Lee in it, and
Uh-huh.
he's just fabulous.
He does it.
When I was a
He
kid,
does a good job. And if I had to pick one, it would be him. I know that, like, Lugosi is, like, the classic look for him. A lot of what we see is from him.
but he's too slow, man.
Well, he is too.
He's not menacing.
He played him in the stage.
Yeah,
That's
right.
how he got the job. Is they saw him doing it there. Because he didn't speak English.
Yeah.
And he's just saying what somebody told him to say, how they told him to say it, which
Somebody
adds
else
to the
just did
mystery
that.
of it.
Oh, in the Acolyte, that one guy that was in Squid
Saul.
Game. Yeah, he
doesn't
doesn't speak English
He learned
That's impressive.
the lines for
Yeah,
that
phonetically.
show. And
Jackie Chan also does that.
but Jackie Chan does speak English.
But the people in spaghetti westerns did not speak English, and they had to do that too.
Oh man,
So, you guys keep bringing up the first one.
The first
Horrors
Hammer
of
one.
Dracula.
Where do you? So, out of the two you watched individually and that one, where would they rank? And then, would you recommend the two Dracula movies you watched to the other person?
I would definitely recommend Love at First Bite to anybody, especially if you want to know what the 70s were like, in a sense, because it does take place in New York City. She makes $1,000 a day. It's, rich people. She goes to a disco that's, exclusive. But a lot of the other stuff around it, kind of like Quick Change, you get a sense of New York City as a character. And the times, the modern times, because it was modern then, and New York City, it's a pretty cool time capsule. So I would definitely recommend that. I would not recommend Count Dracula to anybody.
Before I answer my question,
I would watch The Count from Sesame Street be Count
Before
Dracula
that?
before that. Yeah. Go ahead.
Before I give my answer, I feel like I'm the Godfather over here with my cat.
Or Blofeld.
Oh yeah, Mr. Bond. I would definitely recommend both of these for different reasons. This one, AD, because I think it's good, and I think it's a good. Like, if you didn't want to go find the Horrors of Dracula, I think this is a good one to watch because they're so similar.
I think I've seen Dracula 2000 all the way, but not in one sitting. And it's pretty decent.
It's overhated.
Yeah, I think so,
it is.
too.
It's hated. People don't like it. It's poorly received, and we'll
It's got
get into that
two
one.
sequels, too.
It has 2 sequels to it. But yeah, I think Dracula, the Horrors of Dracula, is better than this one because it is a true gothic Dracula horror movie.
Yeah.
It's all in the 1800s. It's all that aesthetic, and when you mash that with the 70s, it's not that it's bad, but I like gothic horror, so
Right.
I would say that one. But I would 100% recommend this movie to everybody, just because it's good and it's got a great pace. It doesn't feel like it's 90 minutes. It's just an overall well-made movie.
Yeah.
Especially being a low-budget Dracula movie.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell it's low budget, but it didn't require a big one. either.
Yeah.
Like, when
That's
you get
cool.
to Dracula 2000, you can tell more money was sunk into that.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like more money was sunk into that. And you can tell that it wanted more money. This one, it doesn't feel like that. They didn't go over the top. There's no over-the-top effects. There's nothing like that. We could have made it.
Yeah.
And there's a huge charm to that.
Yeah,
because
there is.
it feels more personal. It feels like somebody made this movie.
Yeah, it does feel more personal that
Yeah.
way, I think. Speaking of money, Love at First Bite was the highest grossing indie movie for years.
Wow.
It made $22 million. It was the 13th highest grossing movie of 1979.
I wonder if A24 would have picked it up today. Being a...
Yeah, well,
Comedy.
it's kind of a rom-commy kind of thing. Kind of. Because I don't think they made rom-coms back then. Really. But, so I don't think A24 would go
pick
for
it
the...
up?
Yeah, it's a love story, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And not the Dracula love story. It's a regular one.
I don't think I have anything else to say about 1972 or Dracula 80. So I will transition into what I would classify as the worst of the two movies I saw. I don't think Dracula 2000 is a bad movie
Mm-hmm.
because I think the remake of House on Haunted Hill is just a bad movie.
Yeah, same with House of Wax.
I didn't think House of Wax was a bad movie. I
The
think
new
it's a
one?
2000s movie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, well, you just said the same thing in the two different ways. I'm
Because
just
they're
kidding.
similar in a lot of what makes early 2000s movies bad are the 2000s-ness of them.
Yeah.
How the style of editing, the style of filmmaking in general.
Uh-huh.
It's not good. It feels like
It's kind of too polished and like a product.
copy. Yeah, it's when Hollywood stopped being something for artists and
It's a
started
commodity.
being something for
Money.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like and
Yeah, I
it's
get
always
that too.
Hollywood's always been
Oh,
a
about
product.
money?
Yeah. But this is where it felt like that.
Yeah.
Like so I'm a House of Wax defender just because it's not trying to be the original House of Wax at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got some really cool, in my opinion, just graphically horrifying things in it.
Like when the people's face.
they're-
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Or he's
But I'm
in
not
the
going to spend my
wax.
money to do that. Yeah.
and he's still alive in
Yeah.
there. And like it's that's what's so cool about
Yeah.
it is that it's that
But the guy, I didn't like the guy
I don't
that puts the people in wax. There's a lot to not
It's-
like about it, I don't think.
it took a page out of like the slasher horror.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's
It
a
went
it's
slasher.
a sympathetic man in a mask, kind of like Leatherface,
Uh-huh.
and the brother is the real villain.
Right.
I just think it doesn't do it well.
Yeah.
That's the only real downside of it. Because I like the whole secluded town, and everything's not what it
Oh,
seems.
of course.
Like they do a lot of good stuff in there. It just isn't done well, but it's still better than House on Haunted Hill. And I think this one's kind of better than both of them because it is
Is
a
the
movie,
house? Oh, I'm thinking of The Haunting. Never mind. Go ahead.
The Haunting with Liam Neeson.
Yeah. Never mind. Never mind. That was wrong.
The House on Haunted Hill, I've already talked about on this podcast, but it's as a fan of that movie, and a fan of cinema, that crap. It's so bad.
Yeah.
But Wes Craven Presents Dracula 2000 is a movie not done by Wes Craven,
Right.
but feels like it was. That's how I would say it because
And that's good.
it's like somebody really, really liked Wes Craven's style of horror, of cinema, of all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they wanted to make a movie like that. What if
Right.
Wes Craven did that?
I think Super 8. Did you ever see Super 8?
I love Super 8.
I think Super 8 is a love letter to Steven Spielberg.
Mhm.
Same with Superman Returns is not its own movie. It's like a love letter to Superman from 1979.
And that, it's kind of...
It worked okay with
kinda what I
Super
was
8.
saying with
It didn't work that good for Superman Returns.
Yeah. Well, J.J. Abrams was doing Super 8.
Yeah.
And...
Is it Super 8? Oh, yeah, because the Nicolas Cage is 8mm.
Yeah.
It's two completely different things.
And then Eminem did 8 Mile.
Yeah.
But
A lot of 8s.
So this
The
movie...
better of the three.
Yeah. This movie is... they're time capsule movies. Is how I like
it
to
really is, and that's cool.
Yeah. So, like, if you are studying cinema, these types of movies are things that I would like. I'd have a whole week dedicated to each decade, and these are the types of movies I would do for 2000 cinema. It is exactly how it was.
Yeah.
Being a kid of the 2000s, like, yes, that's exactly how it was.
That's what I'm talking about with Love at First Bite. Because I didn't go to any discos. Obviously, I was 8 years old. But you still had the vibe and the stuff, things on TV you're being bombarded with, all that kind of stuff. You still lived it to an extent.
But yeah, so it's got Christopher Plummer as Van Helsing, which...
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Really good casting.
Right there.
It's got Gerard Butler as Dracula.
Yep. And he does a pretty cool job.
And this it's got a pop star as, I think, Dracula's granddaughter. Not granddaughter, Dracula, Van Helsing's granddaughter. Because they, in this movie too, they do the whole Dracula's after the granddaughter Van Helsing thing.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, I forgot to mention, Peter Cushing in that movie was supposed to be her father, but his wife had just passed away, and it aged him drastically.
Oh.
So they made him the grandfather.
Okay. I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
In real life.
In real life. His real life wife passed. And it lost him. So,
you know what? That might have been the movie he was making when she died, and they wouldn't let him out of it.
I thought that was The House That Dripped Blood.
Maybe that was it.
Because we talked about that before.
It was The House That Dripped Blood, yeah.
Is a
that's
Dracula
horrible.
movie a Dracula movie to you guys if it doesn't have Van Helsing in it?
No.
Yeah, he's integral to the book,
He
so
is.
you kind of got to have him.
But-
Otherwise, you get Salem's Lot,
But
which is
people like
good.
it.
That's good.
It's
The
a
old
cult
one is
classic.
damn good, and there's one going to be coming out on HBO too. And I guess there was another one a few years ago where Rutger Hauer played the monster, but that first one with the blue guy, oh man, that's scary. It's freaking scary.
I say no, just because Batman meets Dracula, the DC, the Batman
Yeah,
doesn't have Van Helsing in it. Bruce Wayne or Batman's kind of the Van Helsing in that movie.
yeah.
But you don't miss him. It's not like, oh, I wish that there was another guy helping Batman.
Yeah.
So just having an opposition, I think, is what makes it. You don't have to have Van Helsing, because they did a Van Helsing movie,
It's pretty good too.
and Dracula's not in it until the very end.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
so
kind of consider him
stupid.
his own thing. Like, you could have his. It is very stupid.
It's great. It's so stupid. It's good.
But I think Van Helsing, like, you could have made a Monster Hunter movie, and like Van Helsing was your guy.
That's what
You know.
Van Helsing is.
Yeah, because that's what he is.
Yeah.
He's a monster hunter, and in the shared universe of the monsters, I wish that he had a bigger role in.
Yeah.
those, because it'd be really cool to
He-
see how they were trying to do with the Dark Universe.
Russell Crowe plays him in the Tom Cruise Mummy movie.
Yeah,
And that's not as bad as everybody made it out to be.
that movie or
Yeah, that movie. I can see why they're trying to. We're gonna do the
edgy
Avengers
stuff.
thing, and
Yeah.
you're gonna get it right. They should not have done that, but it was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I've seen
It's
enough
okay.
of it, but I just with what everybody was saying about it.
Yeah,
and
you
with
can
what I
check out
have
of that
seen,
movie and check back in anytime.
Yeah,
It's not. I'm not saying it's.
it's not the
it's-
Brendan Fraser mummy movie.
No,
And I feel like
it's
it wants
not.
to be.
Yeah, it wants to outdo it,
Yeah,
and
Which
it goes
sucks.
too much. Yeah, it's
just do your own thing.
those Brendan Fraser ones are great.
I love them, and they're getting a reevaluation now, and people are
Yeah.
warming up to them, and I'm glad to hear that.
Well, the special effects were wonky at the time, and they didn't age well.
No,
But all the characters are
the
great,
characters are amazing,
including Emotep. He's pretty cool too.
Yeah, I like when he, and then Brendan Fraser
Yeah.
right back at it. That's so cool. But it's a kind of play on Indiana Jones too,
Yeah,
which
totally
is probably
is.
why it works as good as it does.
Yeah.
Uh,
And it's not Indiana Jones.
but it's not. It's its own
It
thing.
works perfect,
He's his
like-
own adventurer. But in this movie, we start out with a bank robbery. Van
Yeah.
Helsing's bank robbery. And what's he got in there other than Dracula?
Yeah.
And they do cool things with it. So, like, somebody cuts himself and it
Yeah.
gets all over the coffin, and the blood sucks into the coffin. And all that fun stuff. But the whole premise of this movie is he comes back and he
Yep.
wants his Van Helsing's daughter. Van Helsing is the same Van Helsing because he's been
Injecting himself with his
With
blood.
Dracula's
Yeah,
blood.
that's cool.
and that's a really I liked that a lot.
I like that too.
That's such a mystical fantasy element to add to that too, and that's a great idea.
It was a great idea. And it's, I got my blood on these ashes, and now Dracula's here.
Yeah.
It's not any worse
It's
than that.
nothing. Yeah, it fit right in.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, perfect. And then in doing that, he has passed Dracula's blood to his granddaughter.
Mm.
And that's why Dracula wants him, because she's just as much him as she is,
Right.
which is kind of gross because
Yeah, it
he
is.
wants her, not like I'm gonna eat you.
Right.
It's gross. But Gerard Butler does a pretty good job as Kylo Ren in
Yeah.
this Dracula movie. He looks just like somebody trying to be Kylo Ren. And to the point, I wrote this down too. He looks like Kylo Ren, and in her dreams and in just her life, she has visions of him. Just like the dyad in Star Wars.
Right.
With Rey and Kylo Ren. It's really cool. And I was like, oh, they got a dyad! This is fun.
I wonder if that's where they got it from.
I don't
I
know
doubt it.
because
I
it
did
works
doubt it.
kind of similar. Well, not like you can't transport an item, but they both see each other. They both can feel each other. It's real for them.
Right.
He just doesn't know where she is because he doesn't talk a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's cool too.
He is a menacing presence without
And yeah,
having to talk.
Gerard Butler plays it pretty menacingly.
And
I think so.
Gerard Butler took the role serious, which is why it works for me as well as it does.
Mm.
Because the movie overall isn't well acted, it isn't well written.
It's kind of almost campy.
It's a little too campy, and Christopher Plummer said, "All right, I'm going to do this. This is how I'm going to do it."
Mm-hmm.
And Gerard Butler said, "Well, if he's doing it that way, so am I." There's like Danny Masterson is in it from that '70s
Yeah,
show
right.
and
Yeah.
Prison. He's all goofy and like he gets turned into a vampire and he's like, I don't know what's going on, man. And he says he's sorry because he's about to eat one of the characters and he shoots him. And he like falls against the wall. He's like, but I said I was sorry. Like there's jokes like that in this movie, but those two don't crack a single joke.
Right.
They take it very seriously, which saves the movie for me. Because the biggest thing I think this movie does to change the status quo of Dracula is give us his backstory in a way that we
Yeah.
haven't seen before. He's not some ruler from Transylvania. He's not a king. He's Judas from Jesus.
Right.
Like, he's the guy who betrays Jesus. And it's
That's
either a
so
deleted scene
cool.
or it was in the movie, because I read the stuff on this too, where he felt betrayed when Jesus was on the cross. Like, you betrayed me. So it's a cool dynamic to play
Yeah, it
out
really
because
is. I think it is.
I didn't see that coming at all. And it explains why he hates the cross, why it burns him, the holy water. It's not just
The
a demon.
sun.
He is
All of it.
the original bad guy,
Yeah.
essentially. You know, like he is, and he's as old as time. Like, and that's all their cool thing, is they like, well, he couldn't have just been from this far back. A creature like that just doesn't exist. There has to have been something even farther back that we're missing. And then they find the old, I forgot what they called it. It's like not Sanskrit, but something like that.
Uh-huh.
And the girl read it, and they're like, since when could you read that? She's like, I can't, but he can. So now I can.
That's cool.
And like once it's revealed at the very end, he's looking at this stained glass Jesus, and he's talking to him, and it's really cool. Like, and back in Jesus times, he hung himself, but
it
didn't
die.
work. At the end of this movie, he hangs himself again, but then the sun comes up, and he gets engulfed in flames, and he dies. But they take his ashes, and they're like,
Of
well,
course.
if he came back once, he can come back again. So we're gonna keep an eye on him. But that was probably the biggest thing from this movie, and it works in my opinion. I think that's a great. If you're not gonna do just like a demon from hell,
Right.
I think this is a cool take on that.
Yeah. Like the Francis Ford Coppola one where his bride kills herself, and it was a crusade. He was in the crusade, so he was doing this for God.
Yeah.
And then he basically tells him, curse me. And so, it's kind of the same kind of thing where he's a supernatural thing because of supernatural things.
Yeah. He's also a victim of circumstance.
So, not favorite Dracula movie, but favorite Dracula period. Like, the movie might be garbage, but this Dracula is the best. It could be even that.
Well, Christopher Lee is the best Dracula.
I'm going to say I cheated a little bit, but I didn't watch a movie. But I have seen Castlevania, which has Dracula in it.
The game?
The anime.
Yeah.
That's my genuinely favorite version of Dracula that I've seen. The Batman one is good.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
But that one is by far the best. He has a good background. He isn't evil for evil's sake. He actually has a thing. I don't know. But what is your guys' favorite Dracula?
My favorite Dracula movie
And why?
is Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, because it's a movie. The special effects stuff can't happen. Things are weird angles, colors, all that kind of stuff. All that crap is great. I love it. It's you're watching a movie. You're not immersed in it. Nothing. It's like, here, look at this.
Yeah.
That's all it is. But let me tell you something. On Netflix, I think I told you this before when I first saw it, is a Dracula. It's a Netflix original Dracula. And it's a series, I guess you would say, because it's 3 different episodes, but they're about an hour and a half long. And the first 2 are phenomenal. They're great. And then the third one, he's kind of in modern times, and they're wrapping it up, and it's kind of rushed and not as good. But like the second one is basically the Demeter.
Oh.
And then the first one, he's trying to get into a convent and has an intellectual battle with one of the nuns. It's just great. It's a lot of it's very interesting. Holds your attention. It's great. So if you don't have Netflix, get Netflix. Watch the Dracula. I don't care what you do after that, but it's worth it. It's worth the $5.99 to get Netflix. But Christopher Lee is my favorite guy playing Dracula.
Christopher Lee is my favorite portrayal of Dracula. But I will give a shout out to the Hotel Transylvania Dracula.
Shout out.
Because it's
He's kind of like the
Adam
George
Sandler.
Hamilton one.
It was Adam Sandler. And the first movie, it's a comedy. It's a kid's comedy. But, it feels like it's got more depth to it than just being a kid's comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Dracula has a reason why he's doing what he's doing. Just take it more seriously, because it's again, how do you say his name? Genji Tartakovsky movie. So he does take it seriously.
Oh,
There is some
the
serious
Primal
Samurai
guy.
Jack
That guy,
Primal.
that guy made
Yeah, the Hotel Transylvania movies.
no way.
Yeah.
Not all of them. He couldn't have made all of them. He's
Well,
not that
obviously
stupid.
I think he directed all of them.
Get out of here!
He
Really?
had a. I think Randy fact check me on
Yeah.
this, because it's either him or the guy who did the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. But I think it
Gore
was him.
Verbinski?
Gore
It would
Verbinski.
be the producer.
Just go to
Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah.
It'll tell you. Go to
Directed by-
Wikipedia. It'll tell you who directed and produced it and wrote it and
all that.
shipped it to him.
But I think I like it the best because you have the other monsters in it, and they're
Yeah.
the Adam Sandler
Yeah.
crew, and they have great chemistry.
Yeah, they
And
do.
as a kid, I always pictured Dracula and Frankenstein and the Mummy. They were all kind of
Yeah.
buddies on the same side.
Yeah.
And getting the movie is Tartakovsky,
Gendy, yeah.
Gendy Tartakovsky. Yeah, he did those movies. He did them all, right?
At least the first one. I'm looking for the other one.
That Primal is cool.
Primal's
It's damn cool.
Primal's got no dialogue in it, right?
Not really.
That's
Yeah, I don't think there's any.
because it's just a man and a T-Rex.
Yeah. His pet T-Rex.
Yeah, and it's I never watched Samurai Jack as a Powerpuff Girls,
Samurai Jack wasn't too bad.
but everybody likes it. But I did watch his Star
Audio
Wars
could be
stuff.
mixed better, but
Yeah,
it is still good.
But it's-
Holds up.
What holds up?
Samurai Jack.
Jack.
Yeah, it's not bad.
But I watched his Star Wars stuff, and it's fantastic. It is so good. He did
What
the
do-
2-part Clone Wars stuff. The 2D
What?
animated Clone
There's
Wars.
no
That's
way you
him.
don't remember that.
No, wait. Tartakovsky did that?
Yeah.
that looks
I don't
exactly
think so.
like Primal. No, it is.
No, it
100%.
don't.
Yeah, it does.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
All
Boy,
that
that
was
was
shorts to sell toys.
Yeah, I know.
And it's amazing. They
You know-
made them into movies because they're just so good.
I think it's cool as the first season is 12 5-minute episodes, and the second season is 5 12-minute episodes. Well, I saw that guy getting that interviewed, and he was like, and then we get to introduce General Grievous, which was amazing. I didn't think it was that guy.
Best
did.
Grievous.
He did 1,
Hands
2,
down.
and 3 of Hotel Transylvania.
Wow.
He didn't do 4. Well, Hotel Transylvania 3 finally introduces Van Helsing, and it's my least favorite Van Helsing. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. So the first movie is so...
I got to be honest with you, man. I'm not watching any of them.
you don't have to. They are.
We're talking about that
they are kids'
Tartakovsky guy,
movies.
and I respect that guy just from Primal.
He's an artist.
And
Not
but
gonna check
I'm
those
not
out.
watching. I like Adam Sandler movies too. I like his whole crew. I'm not watching it.
The only one I would tell you to watch is the first one because
That's the only one I
it
have
does-
seen because you guys.
The second one though, it's got Mel Brooks as Vlad Dracula, his father, and that's kind of funny.
That's cool.
But
There's another thing. I did not watch Dracula Dead and Loving It for this because I seen some of it. And it's just not funny, man.
no,
It's too bad
Was that-
because Leslie Nielsen plays
Leslie
him.
Nielsen. That's what I
It's
was.
Mel Brooks, and it's not. Young Frankenstein is a watermark, and that falls short of it too far. And I don't want to feel that way about Mel Brooks because he's amazing.
If you count this, I think it was the Dean Martin show. Did he have a show?
Yeah,
Vincent Price was on it,
I don't doubt
and it
that.
was the only time he ever played Dracula.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So that's my favorite because obviously.
Vincent Price. Did he have a mustache?
Yeah, he did. He has.
I stand
They,
corrected. He's the other mustachioed Dracula.
He's on the Muppet Show too, and the Muppets are like, "Well, you used to playing vampires. How do you hide the fangs and all that stuff?" And then he looks at Kermit like that, and the fangs drip
Yeah.
out of his mouth. I was like, "Well, he's never played a vampire. He's never done that." So yeah, overall, I think Christopher Lee's Dracula is my favorite, but the best Dracula movie, I think I would give it to that one just because I like Adam Sandler movies. I'm one of those guys. And
Yeah, that's the thing.
it does its own. It's not.
I don't remember why we said Dracula movies because I'm not
We
gonna
watch-
watch vampire stuff hardly ever.
I'm not a big vampire fan either.
Me neither. And it's just ran into the ground.
Yeah, it's overdone. It's
Yeah,
overplayed.
like zombies are now.
Yeah.
It got overdone.
But we were watching Frankenstein.
Yeah,
And
right. That's
Frankenstein
why.
transitioned
yeah.
into Dracula.
Werewolves next.
Well,
I can go with that.
no, werewolves aren't next.
No, they're not next.
I'm kidding.
But monster-wise, we got to do werewolves too.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sure.
Because Silver Bullet's pretty cool.
We gotta watch
And
The
Mummy.
Howling 2. Your sister is a werewolf.
The Howling's pretty good too. And American Werewolf in London.
You know,
can't even.
I have a fun. I always thought American Werewolf in London was the Michael J. Fox film where he's
Teen Wolf.
It's on a basketball thing, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's my favorite movie." That's the movie I thought they were talking about.
Wow.
I was like, "Why?"
Yeah,
Okay, but like,
that's weird.
and then I saw the transformation.
Yeah, the transformation.
Yeah, and I was like, "That's not Michael Fox." Oh my god, this whole time I've been getting the wrong movie. You have anything else to say about your movies?
No, I'm good.
No.
Love at First Bite's pretty cool. Count Dracula from 1970. Don't bother.
Don't bother. I would honestly say watch both of mine.
I would say that too. I'm going to watch 72.
72 just because it's
And
the
I've never
better of
seen
the
it
two
before,
movies.
but I've seen Dracula 2000. But I'm going to watch Christopher Lee vampire movies.
Oh, so how this movie even came into existence?
Right.
So Harvey Weinstein, the big head of movies back in this day.
Great
Harvey
guy.
Weinstein, great guy, yeah, woo. Was given a script called Dracula 2000, and he bought it immediately.
Uh-huh.
And he called up the guy who ended up doing the script doctor for this movie. He's like, "Hey, I just bought a movie called Frankenstein
Dracula 2000.
Dracula 2000." And he was like, "Oh, cool. Is it good?" "No, it sucks." So then, "Why'd you buy it?" He's saying, "Because it's called Dracula 2000."
That's a
That is
great
the
name, too.
exact reason why I bought it, too. Because it's called Dracula 2000.
Right.
And I just like the second he purchased the script, he's like, "This is horrible, but I have to have it." I think that's awesome.
That is awesome.
And again, I think it's
and that
overrated.
had better be the only thing you have in common with Harvey Weinstein.
It is. That and Pulp Fiction is good.
Yeah.
You like Pulp Fiction?
I like Pulp Fiction too. It's not.
That was so good. But yeah, I think this movie kind of gets a bad rap. It's not by any means the best, but the effects are hit and miss. Like there's a part at the endish when he's hunting him through the graveyard. He jumps at I forgot the guy's name, the Helsing's apprentice, as a wolf, because that is something Dracula can do. He's a shapeshifter. He turns into a wolf, and he shoots him, and the wolf explodes into a whole bunch of bats.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
And there's a lot of good shots.
Christopher
in this.
Plummer and Gerard Butler are worth watching.
They sell it. They 100% sell it. It also takes place in New Orleans, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is.
And while Mardi Gras is going on, there's somebody in the back with a head. That's Bela Lugosi. Also, Bram Stoker's Dracula book is in this movie. Like, it's a thing that happened.
Oh, that's cool.
And he's like,
I
"Oh
remember
no!"
that.
Christopher Plummer at the very beginning, he's like, "Oh no! It's just a ironic. It's a coincidence. I've got that same name from that book. We're not monster hunters." And he bought a big crossbow and all that fun stuff. He's got the secret room where it all folds out.
That
The
room
weapons.
was cool.
There's a lot to like in it. It's not all bad. Like it's not something that you're gonna be like, "Wow, this is the greatest movie ever."
Right.
But it's definitely
You're
something
gonna watch the whole
you
thing.
should check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely check this one out. It is the PGest R-rated movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's another
All of the
2000s
kills
thing.
are off screen.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have been rated R. I kind of don't even think it was. I don't remember.
They probably pushed for it to be rated R, but the company didn't want to because you get a wider audience with PG-13.
Yeah. But I was kind of impressed with that. Everything is off screen. There's also another cool one. Like there's a news reporter girl standing in front of a crashed plane in a swamp, and it all looks so fake. Like it looks so bad. And then later on, they show her again, and the camera guy's got her. He's got the one eye closed, so you can only see out of the camera, and you're seeing her.
Yes,
and then
yes.
She just starts lifting up, and he like looks at her, and Gerard Butler's like smiling at him as he's like hurting her.
Right, but you can't see her through the camera.
Yeah. That was a good thing to do. There's another.
Oh my God.
How he traps him.
Count Dracula. He takes Harker to his room. There's a big mirror there. Oh, you can't see. He's got a candelabra. This is their atmosphere. It's all brightly lit and cobwebs on stuff. So he's got a candelabra, Dracula does, with cobwebs all over it. And what's his name? Harker looks in the mirror. He can see himself, but not Dracula. Oh, what's going on? But he can't see the candelabra either. Come on, man. It's just bad. It's terrible.
This one's got something. So how he trapped Dracula in the very beginning, or not in the beginning, it's shown later on, but how he got him was Dracula was walking down this alleyway to kill Helsing, and he walks right through a mirror, and it's a cage. Because he couldn't see himself.
Right.
He just sees the reflection behind him.
Yeah.
And he's trapped, and they come in and they stab him with...
Stab him with the steely knives, but you just can't kill the beast.
Yeah. Bayonets is the word I was thinking of. And Christopher Plummer actually gets stabbed too, so I don't know why even show that. Because it's not killing him.
Right.
He got stabbed in the arm. Oh. But yeah. So I would definitely say check these ones out. Because they're good. One of them's better made. One of them's a good like horror movie. They're the ones you just watch with your friends. Like,
yeah,
it's that kind of movie. I watched it with Courtney, and we had fun with it. She did the because he's kind of gross looking, and then he like morphs into Gerard Butler.
Mm-hmm.
She just goes, "Oh no, he's hot," from SpongeBob, and it's fun. It's a fun time. So I would definitely suggest it. Anything else about these movies?
Nope.
No?
I'm good.
So that has been the Dracula Special. Tune in next week because we'll be taking a fantastic voyage. Hint, by the way, go watch that movie. We're here on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. I've got a Twitter now.
Oh.
We got awesome merch.
X.
This is the black
X, yeah.
It's X.
Whatever. It's called X, formerly Twitter. That's what everybody says.
The social network that was formerly known as Twitter.
What are you talking about, Meta?
No, I was
because they changed the names of these things and nobody uses them.
Yeah. Facebook is Meta.
Alphabet.
Yeah.
All them. Shut up, man.
We're showing off the black version of the Grindhouse shirt.
They come in all kinds of colors.
Mr. Randy, actually, we've got some hoodies up there too. We've got the banner on there. You might have to get down to his level.
You don't want to come down to my level, man.
Never.
Nice products we got on there. They're definitely very well, and they're comfortable. So check those out.
Yeah, they're made great.
I'm stealing this.
Go to the link. We'll paste it down below, but also on the website, www.thegrindhousepodcast.com, where you can find everything about us.
Including this.
It'll be posted there, too. So feel free to stop on by, drop a like, drop a comment. Let us know what you thought about these movies. Suggest a movie.
Don't suggest Citizen Kane.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't suggest
We're already going to do that one. What was the other one for this month?
The African Queen.
The African Queen. Don't suggest that because we're already going to do it.
Check out those movies, too, because we want you part of the conversation. We want you part of the community. Join the cult of the Grindhouse.
That's the cult. That's the best way to put it. I love it.
Follow us on TikTok because I do some behind-the-scenes stuff, too. So, like, if you ever wanted to see what the studio's kind of like behind the camera, follow it there. I've got a cool video up. But other than that, I have been Cheese Film.
And Hecubus.
And this has been the Grindhouse
Podcast.